everyone. I apologize for the weird video quality on this one. So what this is I bought one of those Pocket 386 micro laptops. If you remember last year, there was a storefront on AliExpress that sold the Book 8088 and the Hand 386. And I always thought that'd be kind of cool, but I'd want it in the opposite form factor. I'd want either a handheld 8088 or a micro laptop 386. And this is what it is. They actually now sell the Pocket 386, which is a micro laptop with a 386 SX CPU in it. And I put FreeDOS on it. And I've described that elsewhere as to what I did, but the short version of what I did is I basically ended up popping the CF card out of the laptop, connecting to my Linux desktop, running QEMU over there so I could do the FreeDOS install directly to the CF card from Linux. The only thing I had to do that was different was to run an option when I did the sys command, so that way I could actually create a CHS bootloader. But other than that, it was remarkably smooth to get FreeDOS on this laptop. And here it is. This is FreeDOS running on an actual Pocket 386, and it's connected through VGA to my widescreen monitor, which is what I have my webcam pointed at. So if I do a dir, you can see that I've got a couple of things in here. I've actually installed FreeDOS, and I've installed some applications just to kind of try it out. And that's what this video is going to be. We're going to run through some different applications and try them out on the Pocket 386. Now you'll notice that I did edit my fdconfig.sys and my fdauto.bat. My originals are .000. So rather than using fdconfig.sys, I actually have config.sys, and there it is. The only thing that's I think really changed in there is I changed the menu background when it boots up to blue background, just so I remind myself what I'm doing. And then my instead of an fdauto, I'm just using a autoexec.bat, and so you can see I've got type autoexec.bat, and it's a very minimal autoexec.bat. I don't need to do things like networking because this doesn't have a network card. I don't need to do things like loading a CD-ROM because it doesn't have a CD-ROM. So it's really just a very bare bones autoexec.bat that just basically sets up my environment and an alias if I wanted to run the ls command. And so let's actually look at some applications running on this 386. Now I've installed some of my favorite games and some of my favorite applications. Let's start with the games, and so let's go to games. I've got a games and a games dollar. The games dollar are the registered versions, things that I bought. The games one is just shareware, and so that's what we're looking at here, just some shareware games. And so let's actually go. So I've got so Shadow Warrior 1 .x. I renamed it .x because it will not run. So if I go to SW1, we'll start with the ones that don't work, and then I try to run SW to run Shadow Warrior. It doesn't run. And so the Pocket 386 has a whopping 8 megs of memory in it, and this needs 9 megs of memory. And so there we go. So that's not going to run. And then Tomb Raider, it just won't run. So go into Tomb Raider, and I can run Tomb. And I've tried, various config options going into the setup and trying to get it to run, and I can't get it to go. It's also extremely slow, but this is not a surprise. This game came out, oh gosh, what was it? I think it was around it says right there, I think on the screen, 1996. And so this is kind of a late entry into the DOS world. And so we'll try to run the DOS game. You can see how slow it is. It must be, yeah, it's not actually responding to input. And so that game is not going to happen. So it's not doing anything for me. I can't move to a different option. I can't enter the game. It's just kind of locked up there. Doing the setup program does the same thing. So that's why I've got the .x in there. Let me go ahead and turn off the machine, and I'll reboot it. The Pocket 386 has a power switch that is literally press it in, and it stays in, and then it turns off when you press it again and the button pops out. Need to be careful, I think, if you're going to put this into a laptop bag. So just be aware of that. Let's go back into the games directory, and we'll go into some games that actually work. And so let's go into Forces. This is Dark Forces, the Dark Forces game, and just run df. And yeah, it takes a while to start. I mean, for a while I kind of thought, ooh, I think maybe it's not working, but it actually does start up. This is being the Dark Forces demo, the shareware version. And yep, mouse driver not installed because I don't actually have a PS2 mouse in this machine. So I just hit space there to get past it. And so I only have a PS2 keyboard on here. If you're looking for mouse gaming, that's not going to happen. So here we go. Let's go ahead and play this game. And so I think you can hear through my microphone that it actually is playing the music. It doesn't have a Sound Blaster card in it, but it does have an OPL3 compatible, AdLib card. And so that's what I'm getting my sound through. And yeah, it really does feel like it's going to take a long time to come up. And here we go. Yeah, it is running also kind of slow. I mean, this is a first-person shooter running on a 386. So what do you expect? Let's remind ourselves here. Control is shoot. Now, it doesn't have a Sound Blaster in it, so it actually is not making the sound effects of shooting, but it is playing the digital music. Who's behind here? Hello, new friend. Yep, there's that guy, and there's missed him. Yep. There we go. All right. Oh, now I have a better gun. And should be, yep, there we go. So Alt will let me do strafe. So I'll go in here, make some new friends. And then that's okay. He's safe. The air around him is now cleared because I've shot all around. Let's go and shoot this guy. There we go. And so, this is this is what it's like to play Dark Forces, granted without a mouse. And I kind of tune the performance a little bit so we can actually get, so we can actually make it somewhat playable. But it actually it's not bad. And I don't need to play the entire first level here, but you kind of see what the game is like. It's not bad. It's arguably playable. It's not bad. So let's quit the DOS there, and let's go and try another game. One and Doom 1. And let's go ahead and run Doom. And so what is great about this is, being able to run FreeDOS on real hardware. And so what I've done is I promised after I do this video, I'm going to do a complete reinstall of the complete system. And I'll do a test for anybody who wants to sort of see what it's like. If anybody wants tests of FreeDOS running, their FreeDOS app running on real hardware. And yeah, again, doesn't have a Sound Blaster, so it's running everything through the music card. Oh, I take that back. It's running everything through the speaker. And so let's play a new game. It is unplayable at a larger size. And so this is the best that I've had to do by shrinking the size of the window down. And you can see it's still a little clunky, but it's not too bad. And so yeah, we're running all the sound through the PC speaker in terms of sound effects, but the music is running through the OPL3. There's some people. Okay, here. There we go. Bypass the secret there with the exit level. Oh, there's a friend. No, 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 no. There we go. And that's the end of our level. And so that's just sort of playing Doom. You can kind of see what it's like to play Doom in this box. Again, the music is going through the OPL3, but the sound is all going through, the sound effects are all going through the PC speaker. We'll go back to DOS here. And we'll play another one in here. The Ford, that's the game that that Ford put out, so you can actually try out driving different cars. I've got Epic Pinball on there. Actually, Epic Pinball's not bad. Let's go and do Epic Pinball. And here we have Epic Pinball. Let's do begin. And let's do the Android table. Well, it's a shareware version. That's all we get. Let's go ahead and play that. And that's my monitor there trying to auto adjust for being in VGA. This one really needs a, oops, messed that one up. This one really needs a sound blaster for the effects. So you're just getting everything through PC speakers. All right, and that is Epic Pinball. I could spend quite a bit of time playing this one. I played Epic Pinball. This is one of the games I registered when I was back in the day, and this is quite a fun game. I like playing pinball on DOS. All right, but let's just exit out of that. But that's Epic Pinball. It plays really well, and we'll just exit here back to DOS. Thank you for playing Epic Pinball. And let's do one more game. Oh, Rise of the Triad is rather interesting. And so CD ROTT1. And so again, this is another game that really wants to have a higher performing system. And the only way I can get it to run well, really run at all, is to, just like you saw with Doom, to shrink the window really small. And I had forgotten this little this little thing that happens when you do that on Rise of the Triad. It prints a little message for you to say you need to buy a new machine. And so here we go, starting Rise of the Triad. Start a new game. We'll play that guy. And we'll play that. Now it is playing the sound effects through the OPL3, the ad lib, and so we are going to get a simulation of sound on this one. Yeah, and it felt like it hung there for a second. I mean, remember, we were running this on a 386, and they've 386 SX, and it's locked off at 40 megahertz, so it's not exactly the most the fastest thing on the block. And you can see that by shrinking it down so small, they get a little message that says buy a 486. I mean, you can barely see what's on the screen there. It's so small, but that is that's what we're getting here. Where do we have some data? Oh, there's one. Shoot that guy. And ooh, there's a funny guy. Yeah, oops, I just killed myself, but that's okay. As you can see, the only way I can really make this playable is by shrinking the window down so much, and it's playable, but you just really can't see anything. And so anyway, I'll just sort of give that one up. That's what it's like to play Rise of the Triad. I don't want to just play all the games on here. I will do another video for my Patreon where I play a bunch of games just so you can see what it's like. But just kind of wanted to demonstrate what it's like to run FreeDOS on this 386 little laptop, the micro laptop. The if you want to buy one of these things, by the way, the keyboard is so small. There is no way that like adult human hands are going to use that keyboard effectively. So you really have to buy a PS2 keyboard. And so, as I said, all these games are games that run fine, except with the exception of Shadow Warrior and Tomb Raider. Various levels of fine. You may have to shrink the window way down, but it works out pretty well. I have some registered games in here. So, oops, games, $1. That's just happened to be where I installed my registered games. And you can see I've got the full version of Pinball, the full version of Rise of the Triad. I can't get Star Gunner to work. It won't work at all. Joe the Jungle plays just fine. There's the full version of Dark Forces, the full version of Biomenace, and of course the different Keen games. They all work just fine. And then let's go ahead and look at some of the apps that are on this system. And so I've installed some apps. And so if I go into apps, you can see I've installed the Borland Turbo C++ compiler. I've got the Fed editor on here so I can write some programs. I've got the As Easy spreadsheet because that is my favorite spreadsheet. If you know me, that is my favorite ever spreadsheet. And I've got the Ability Office Suite, and I have Word for DOS 5.5. Now, I actually ended up creating, I'm going to do this here. I ended up creating a bat file to run the As Easy As and Word. And so the reason for that is As Easy As, the only way I can get it to work reliably on my display, if it's in plain text mode, everything kind of gets shifted a little bit off to the right and kind of gets lost. Anything on the right hand side gets lost, and that's not helpful with the spreadsheet. But if I ran it in graphics mode, my monitor would work just fine. And so I ended up making configuring As Easy As to run in graphics mode. As soon as I did that, the video card on this device won't. You need to kick it back into text mode because it doesn't return back to text mode very well on this laptop. And so I ended up doing the mode CO80 line. And rather than have to remember to do that every single time, I just made a batch file to do it for me. As you can see, it also goes into my docs folder, so that way all my docs are in one location. This was something I did when I was in college as well. I would write these little batch files to launch applications, and that way my working directory was where my documents were. I did exactly the same thing for Word. I wasn't trying to work around anything. I was just making sure that it was in the docs folder. And so let's go ahead and run Word just to kind of start that one off. And so there's Word. Again, I kicked this into graphics mode so that way my monitor will play with it correctly. If I didn't, then everything on the right-hand side would be cut off just a little bit. But this is Microsoft Word for DOS. And the reason that I can run Word for DOS is that Microsoft released Word for DOS 5.5 for free, gratis, on their website. I think as part of Y2K, you can still find a direct link to download it, but Microsoft doesn't advertise the link, at least as far as I know. And this actually does do formatting, and because I'm in graphics mode, it'll actually display a version of that formatting on screen. So let's do some formatting. And so Word for DOS can do underline, bold, italic text. And so I can use Control left and right to jump to the starts of words. And I can hold down the Shift key and do Control Shift right to highlight the italic word. Go back here. And now I can do Alt F or Alt T to go into format. And I can do a character format. And this is italics. And so we'll go down here and say I. Oops, that's the wrong one. Let's do that again. Alt T and then character. and then Alt-I to set italic, and I can hit enter, and now I've got italic text. And we'll do the same thing here for bold. And so we'll do Alt-T to go into format, and then C for character, and then this is going to be bold. We'll do Alt-B, and that checks bold. And then the same thing for underline, just to kind of show you one more thing. And so Alt-T to go into the format menu, C for character, and then this is underline, so Alt-U. And as you can see, you can also do small caps, all caps, strike through. You can hide the text, double underline, things like that. And so this is Word for DOS, and it does actually a pretty good job. If you're looking for, I did another video on this on the YouTube channel before. If you are looking for a distraction-free writing environment, Word for DOS actually does a really good job. And now they've got an actual laptop that this Pocket386 that I can run Word on. I'm actually thinking about using this to, write articles. Here is totally distraction free. I still end up having to pop the CF card out and load it into my Linux box so I can transfer files over. But if you grew up in that era, that should sound very familiar because that's the same thing we did with floppy disks. So that is, that's the workaround to get files back and forth to this laptop. And so if I wanted to, by the way, preview this to see what it looks like on the page, I could do Alt F to go into File. I think it's here. Yeah, Print Preview. So Alt V. And this will show me an approximation of what my document will look like. There's my monitor auto adjusting the video. This is what it would look like on a piece of paper, 8.5 by 11. And so it's just trying to show you what it would look like. And this is how it wasn't truly WYSIWYG, these word processors back in DOS. If you wanted to see what it looked like on page, you had to go through some sort of a page preview. All right, I should be able to get out of here with the escape. And then back to the regular Word document. If I wanted to save things, of course, I would do Alt F, and I could do Alt S now to save. I could, oops, do it again. Alt F and then Alt S to save, and you'll notice I'm actually in my docs folder. That's why I have that batch file, so that way I always start Word in my documents folder. So that's how you would save some files. I don't need to save this one though, so we'll do Alt F and then we'll do Alt X here to exit, and I don't need to save my files. And then, of course, my favorite program altogether is As Easy As. And again, I have it set up normally it would run in text mode, which run just fine. But as I said, in my monitor, my display, if I try to display it in text mode, it's going to shift everything off to the right, and everything on the right-hand side gets cut off a little bit. So I've modified As Easy As to display in graphics mode, and then my graphics card can, or my display can display just fine. Again, I have a batch file for that, and that changes my directory to my docs folder, and then it runs As Easy As, and then when it's done, it sets the mode back to normal. If you want to see, by the way, how to set the video mode, if you go to / that goes into the menu, and then U for user. You can then do I to install. I probably should use the arrow keys to actually show you what I'm doing. And then there's the I for install, and then you can now set up the video. So right here in video, and I've got it set up for, I guess it's set up for defaults on 280. I guess it is set up for that, but I don't think so. Oh no, I got it down here. I think I've got it set up on, I think I'm on BGA actually. I don't want to mess with that because I don't want to change my display because it is kind of annoying. But yeah, this is how I would do data analysis as a undergraduate student. If you haven't seen the videos before on As Easy As, I have done lots of videos on As Easy As. Why? Because Trius, who made this program, eventually released As Easy As for free, gratis, on their website. They give you the full activation code to activate the shareware spreadsheet. And so that means you can download this for free. It's not open source, but you can download it for free and you can run it. And so I might do /. And so again, I got very good at using the / key and using the keyboard And to me, that's really how spreadsheets work, just because that's how my brain now works. If I wanted to enter in a list of numbers, I could use D for data. I use the arrow keys in this case, D for data, and then I can do fill. And now I can say, okay, what range do I want to do? And so I'm just going to do A1 down to, let's do A10. And so I can hit return on that. And it says, what do you want to start at? Let's do 1 to 10. So we'll start at 1 and do an increment of 1, and then it does 1 to 10. And if I wanted to do let's do a line. And so I wanted to do, let's make this y equals 2x. And so what is my y value for this? Well, my y value has to be, in fact, let's try to add a row here. And so I'm going to do sheet, and I'm going to go ahead and insert. I'm going to insert a row here, and we're going to insert it right here on line 1. And there we go. And so now, actually, let's insert another one. So we'll do slash sheet insert, not column, insert, and then row. That is my cat in the background. I apologize for that. Let's do another one right here. And so I know I've got 2 in here, but let's do an X and we'll do a Y. Let's actually center that. We can do caret X should center that, and then caret Y will center the Y. And why did I make an extra one in here? It's not to, just have a gap in here. I actually want to do a box drawing character. Now you can actually do a backslash and then like hyphen, and that will make a solid line there using hyphens. It'll repeat hyphen to fill the cell. You can do the same thing for any kind of character. Backslash A, do it with A's. But in this case, slash, I want to do a range operation. No, I don't. I'm going to do a format. And so let's actually erase this data that I got in here. We'll erase that range right there, and now we'll do slash. And now I want to do a range option here, and I want to do a format, and I want to insert box drawing characters. And so I'm going to do that range right here. And now it's giving me a nice solid line. I did this all the time as an undergraduate student. And so now I can do my y equals 2x. And so let's do plus a3 times 2. And that gives me y is 2 for an x of 1. And now we want to do a slash, and we want to do a copy from that cell right there, hit enter. And then down here we'll hit dot, and that'll allow me to fill in the rest of the range. There we go. I've got 2 through 20 because it's y equals 2x. And now if I did, this is something I did all the time as well as an undergraduate student, I would do linear interpolation. This is going to be a very simple linear interpolation because there's no error values, but I can do a slash and then data, and then I can do regress. I really am fighting just typing the letter. It's much faster if you do that. And we'll say, okay, what's my X range? Right here, I'll do dot, and now I can actually specify my X range. And then I would do my Y range, and I'll do dot, and we can fill in the range with my arrow keys. And now I want to say, all right, I don't have any extra coefficients to put in. Let's actually put in the output. And we're going to put the output right here. So right here. All right, and so I put that over there so that I can actually do this. Escape, and we do a range, do a format, we do a box. Oops, let's hit escape and go over here. Now we're gonna hit dot. Now surround my output and hit enter, and I've drawn a box around it. And so what it's going to do, it's going to try, when you use that boxing, it's going to try and take any empty cells, it's going to try and draw solid lines. And so by drawing it all the way around the data, it's able to enter in a box around my line drawing. And I would do that all the time when I would do data analysis because my instructor wanted to see where I was getting my numbers from. And so as you can see, that is a slope of 2 and an intercept of 0. And if I wanted to see my error values, which is my standard deviations, those are the values that are right down here. And so now I can see the regular error and the slope error. And so that is what I would use SYS for, and I just want to demonstrate that it works just fine on the Pocket 386. And so I'll go down to exit here, and I'll exit the program. Now, if I didn't have my my mode statement in there, it would it would actually not work. Let me, it would still work, but you wouldn't be able to see my prompt. Let me actually go into apps and then go into as easy as, and I'll actually run as easy as here manually. And as you can see, it starts the application and brings me into the application. I'm in graphics mode, and that way I'm able to, even though it's just plain text, and that way I'm able to kind of fit everything on screen. And if I use slash and E to exit, and then exit back to DOS, I get what looks like the system has hung. I just get a little blinking cursor. It actually is because I can actually type in here. So if you just do, you need to be very careful. Mode space CO80, comma 25. And there it is. And so that's why I made the batch file to run that. And so this is FreeDOS running on a on a Pocket 386, and I just wanted to show it off because it's just really cool to see retro hardware being sold today in 2024. As I said, it wasn't very difficult to get FreeDOS installed on here. Obviously, it doesn't have a CD-ROM drive, so I can't just plug in the live CD. It doesn't have a well, and it does have. If you look at this system online, and I'll put a link in the video description, you can see that it has pinouts on the outside, and so you could plug in a card to connect it to some other kind of hardware device. I don't, so I actually was stuck just taking the CF card out, and as I said, reading it, putting in a reader onto my Linux machine, and then just doing the install directly on the CF card from there, and then taking it out and putting it back in the Pocket 386. At the end of the day, it wasn't that hard to do. It just had to recognize what was going on. I had to enter that force CHS. Thanks to Baron Beekman, by the way, for that help in doing that. We had discussions on the mailing list about how to make that work, and it was just great to kind of see everybody give me a hand on that. So what do you think of this video? Let me know in the comments below. Please visit our website at freedos.org. Join us on Facebook, follow us on Mastodon, and consider supporting me on Patreon. Thank you.